Welcome to the INFOWARS Nightly News. I'm David Knight. It's Thursday, July 24th, 2014, and here are our top stories.
Tonight, INFOWARS demonstrates how unsecure U.S. borders really are.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am in Mexico right now.
That's next on the INFOWARS Nightly News.
We have the most wide open. It's like America is like a prostitute that has sex with 200 guys a day. If having an open border is like being a whore. America is the biggest whore on the planet, having sex with 200 guys a day lined up around the block.
Now, INFOWARS reporter Joe Biggs is down at the Arizona border, and to illustrate just how easily you can go through the makeshift barriers that they've got up, he did this.
What I'm going to show you is how easy it is if you're an illegal alien trying to come across a border or a drug smuggler to come into America. This right here is mind-blowing. Check this out. You come right over through this. You come over here. Ladies and gentlemen, I am in Mexico right now. This is it. That's how easy it was. There's nothing here to keep me from coming across into the country and flooding our streets with drugs and illegal aliens. This is what's going on right now. The Border Patrol is not doing anything. They're saying it's going to take another 5 years to even get some of this stuff fixed. And they've been saying that for a decade.
Now, he joked to us that he had an idea that he might just go in and get a taco. I guess we could do a commercial, Run for the Border, but that's already been done. No, the question is not can we secure the border with some kind of a iron curtain. The real issue is the incentives, I believe, that are pulling people in as well as pushing them out of their country with a war on drugs. This is what has changed. It's the incentives that we're offering, and of course, those incentives are put there to collapse the American economy in a, as we point out many times, Cloward and Piven strategy to overload the economy, to collapse it. And I think a good metaphor for what's happening here is this story from INFOWARS.com today from Adon Salazar. A woman unwittingly fed and sheltered MS-13 gang members. A woman in South Texas housed, fed, and clothed a group of illegal immigrants that were traveling past her homes. One of them turned out to be a member of the notorious Central American gang MS-13. And of course, it's not just Central America, it's multinational. Now, the local police were the ones who discovered the gang member after a noise complaint and had this to say. It should go without saying, but police caution it's foolish to open one's doors to strangers. And the police lieutenant said, anytime you invite a stranger into your residence, you are inviting trouble. Exactly. Are we inviting MS-13 gang members into this country unknowingly out of a misguided compassion? Now, it was just yesterday that we had the story about Dan Patrick here in Texas pointing out that we have over 100,000 illegal aliens in jails here in Texas. He said that over the last 4 or 5 years, it's been about 500,000 crimes. He said over 5,000 rapes, over 2,000 murders. Where are our children going to go when the violence turns them into refugees? And of course, that violence in their country comes from MS-13, started out as a drug gang as part of our war on drugs, but of course now they've diversified into a number of different issues. And one of the things that we see that they're going to be brought into this country for, of course, is to bolster the Democratic Party. And we see Joe Biden saying now that voter ID laws are racist. They're an attempt to repress minority voting. This is a story from CBS News, and listen to the way they cover it. They say Vice President Joe Biden urged a gathering of civil rights leaders on Thursday to fight back against Republican-led attempts to restrict voting rights, calling the push for voter ID requirements an attempt to repress minority voting, masquerading as an attempt to end corruption. You don't have voting rights if you're not a citizen, but of course they would like to change this. They want to say that it's racist to have voter ID in Texas and North Carolina when they have the same laws in northern states, and Indiana has exactly the same laws that they are now trying to, the Department of Justice under Eric Holder is now trying to say is racist and needs to be shut down. But of course, you have to have ID if you're going to do a lot of things. Maybe we could just stop IDing people on the streets for absolutely no reason. Maybe we could stop IDing people in the airports. Maybe we could stop TSA from sticking their hands down our pants. But of course, that's going on. But in the voting booth, we should have no ID at all. Now, of course, they also ID people when they get on Obamacare, but that's not working out too well right now. The GAO has just launched an Obamacare sting operation, and almost all the fake insurance applicants were approved. Now, this is a story from National Journal. They point out that an undercover operation found the majority of fake Obamacare applications submitted were approved by the Health Laws enrollment system. They say the eligibility verification system isn't working. Well, what about Obamacare is working? This is what they found. Fake applicants were able to get subsidized insurance coverage in 11 of 18 attempts, according to the report from the Government Accountability Office. That's a nonpartisan group. They say the agency conducted the sting operation to test the strength of the Affordable Care Act's eligibility verification requirement. But I guess maybe it really wasn't racist because they really didn't look at the IDs, right? They just let them go through. So that's how I guess he gets his pass from that. We should understand that what's happening in this country with the Cloward and Piven strategy is, of course, socialism at the bottom and fascism at the top. One story that illustrates that, I think, better than anything else is this story from Organic Prepper. They say the Department of Agriculture in Michigan has forced a co-op farm there to dump 248 gallons of organic milk and to break 1,200 free-range eggs. And, of course, an undisclosed amount of fresh cream, butter, and cheese was also destroyed. They point out in this article from organicprepper.ca, the state of Michigan decided to direct its resources towards cracking down on a small food co-op in Standish, Michigan, for having the audacity to provide milk, butter, cream, and eggs to people who bought shares in the organic dairy. Now, listen to what they did with the eggs. They said they had 100 dozen eggs, and they required those 1,200 eggs to be broken individually while they watched and inspected it. They also required that the 248 gallons of milk had to be dumped with a sprayer. And of course, they had Michigan Department of Agriculture people witnessing that. What they're claiming is that they were selling food without a license. However, the farm is a co-op and people have shares. So they basically came in with their regulators and said, your shares don't match our definition of what they should be. And they ask in this article here, they said, what is wrong with the world when real farming is treated like a crime and fresh food is treated like crystal meth? Now, of course, what's behind this is protecting big agri. And the way they do that is they make it difficult for small farms to compete. They try to drive them out of business. We saw this first in the dairy producing states that were real big about that. Wisconsin, they came after raw milk farmers, but now Michigan has made this a fine art. They're going after hog farmers, everyone who's a small organic farmer. We've seen the same thing happen in Hugo Chavez's socialist Venezuela, of course. There, the bankers got 700% return on their investment, while the people that he was supposedly protecting with socialism, while the people are now having to leave the country to get water, medicine, and of course, food. Now, there's an interesting turn of events in the Ukraine today. The U.S. government has been making its case to go after Russia on social media. And we have on social media now a YouTube video that was put up 1 month ago that purportedly shows Ukrainian fighter jets hiding behind a passenger plane, pulling away, dropping bombs, and then hiding behind the plane once again. Now, whether or not this video is true or not is, we don't know if this is propaganda. We don't know if it's purely a coincidence, if the date has been changed. But of course, they're talking about how this is a threat, how it was set up to essentially provoke an attack on a civilian jetliner. That's the problem with using social media to make your case as to what happened, to investigate this. But of course, that's the only data that we get from the American government. We've seen some radar information as well as some satellite imagery from the Russian side. We have not seen it from the U.S., merely assurances that they've seen everything and they know exactly what's happening. Well, a lot of people are not happy with that, not just in the U.S., but of course abroad as well. It appears, according to an economist, Jim Willey, he's a financial analyst actually, he thinks that what's behind all the NSA spying is Germany being upset with the way they're being pushed around by the American government and possibly looking to join the BRICS. Now, he claims that Germany is preparing to ditch the unipolar system that's backed by NATO and the U.S. in favor of joining the BRICS. Now, of course, the BRICS are Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. He says he thinks that they're looking for details with the NSA spying on Germany, that they're looking for details for a secret movement in Germany to get away from the dollar and to join the BRICS. And of course, we point out in this article by Paul Joseph Watson, earlier this month, the BRICS nations announced the creation of a new $100 billion anti-dollar alternative IMF bank to be based in Shanghai and chaired by Moscow. Now, of course, we all know how devastating it will be for the U.S. economy if they abandon the petrodollar. But Jim Willey points out another big consequence. He says the U.S. is basically telling Europe you have two choices here. Join with us in a war against Russia, with sanctions against Russia. Join with us in constant war and conflicts, isolation, destruction to your economy, denial of your energy supply, removal of contracts. Join with us in this war and in sanctions because we really like to keep their dollar regime going. And he says they're getting really tired of being pushed around. He says we're pushing Germany. He said don't worry about France, don't worry about England, but worry about Germany. They have 3,000 companies who are doing active business right now, and they are not going to join the sanctions period. So the day that they abandon the dollar as a standard is the day that we're going to radically see our lives changed here in this country. We're going to see massive economic hardship. Well, stay with us right after the break. We're going to have a story I think you might find interesting. Remember those old-fashioned things called parents? Well, the feds are now looking to deploy robots as personal trainers. We'll be right back.
City of Austin tap water versus filtered City of Austin tap water.
I can taste dirt in it.
God knows what's in this.
This has an aftertaste.
Tastes like Austin water? Yeah, it does. Ugh.
These people just sampled City of Austin tap water straight from the faucet. Next, we had them try a sample of tap water filtered through the ProPure G2.0 filtration system.
High quality H2O.
That one is better.
Tastes like nothing.
Yep, I know what good water tastes like. It's good water.
Most tap water contains added substances like fluoride, chlorine, Monsanto's deadly pesticide, glyphosate, and many others. Studies prove that these substances are linked to an assortment of major health issues, including tooth decay, lowered IQ, and even cancer.
It tastes like you're drinking out of the lake when you're drinking tap water.
Yeah, it has that processed flavor to it.
The ProPure G2.0 filtration system removes these deadly substances and many more, leaving only fresh-tasting, deliciously clean water.
Okay, this is very tasty.
It's good water.
Refreshing.
It's good.
Go to InfoWarsStore.com today. Use promo code WATER and save 10% off your ProPure purchase. Again, that's InfoWarsStore.com or call 1-888-253-3139.
This is Alex Jones for InfoWarsLife.com. The latest in preparedness is now here. An electrically stabilized colloidal silver solution that can be added to both your home cabinet and preparedness pack alike. Concentrated to 30 parts per million in what has been dubbed the survival silver solution. The new InfoWars Life Silver Bullet Colloidal Silver is the answer for you and your family. And it's entirely free of toxic artificial additives that are loaded into many products. The InfoWars Life Silver Bullet Silver is so powerful that it is concentrated into a 2-ounce bottle and is not recommended for extended continual use. This is not a low-grade formula. We are working with one of the top laboratory manufacturers in the United States to bring you the best form of colloidal silver using electrical processes within a base of deionized water for your preparedness storage. For your home kitchen, purchase your bottle of InfoWarsLife.com Silver Bullet Colloidal Silver today and find other amazing supplements at InfoWarsLife.com.
Welcome back. Now, government is always looking for ways to extend its control and influence over children. Of course, Aristotle and Plato wanted to get rid of parents altogether. Now, the federal government, giving a grant to Yale University, has come up with a novel approach, and that is a $10 million grant to use robots as personal trainers. And they're talking about deploying them. That's the kind of language that they're using. The National Science Foundation has committed $10 million to build robots that will act as, quote, personal trainers, unquote, for children in an effort to influence their behavior and their eating habits. They say Robots Helping Kids is the name of the project. They will ultimately deploy robots into homes and schools to teach English as a second language. That's one of the examples that they gave. And of course, we've talked about how one of the reasons that they're pulling in all of these young children from Central and South America is that they would love to have absolute influence over them. Children with no parents or with maybe just one parent at home while she's working at McDonald's, of course, they could have the robot teaching them English and doing